My name is Kris Britton, and I am here from a marketing agency called Kaybe. We're a very small but very talented marketing team who have been formed to basically help all sizes of businesses, small businesses right the way through to large enterprises. And I'm here to talk to you about our sales pipeline and how we've gone about implementing Groundhogg to help us achieve our goals and our ambitions over this year and then over future years as well. So I've got 10 minutes, and thanks to the team from Groundhogg and also from Adrian, we've got the time to 10 minutes today to go through what we would do and what our top 10 tips are to help you be able to implement the pipeline into your business. So kicking off, we're going to look at the initial foundations of your pipeline. And there's 3 top tips here that we're going to be recommending that you look at implementing in order to be able to help you achieve your ultimate goal. So step number 1 is to use clear stages in your pipeline. So really, one of the key things that we look at doing is we do break down the number of stages on our pipeline to give us a greater visibility and also the ability to be able to improve the predictability of something closing. So when we can see multiple stages, we don't just look at what are the sales stages from point A to point D or E or F or whatever it might be, but we also look at what are the stages afterwards as part of the onboarding. So we use that process in order to make sure that a client doesn't just sign the paperwork and then they suddenly feel that horrible chill because no one's talking to them and they've not necessarily started the onboarding process, or communication gets lost from point A to point B, and we effectively start upsetting a customer before we even get going. So number 1, definitely use clear stages, and don't be worried about using too many stages. Groundhogg's got a great feature where you can toggle using that drop-down list to jump a task from point A to point B, and you don't have to drag the task all the way from left to right if you do use a lot of stages like we do. Number 2, big fan of this, automation. So using things such as funnels or Zapier to help automate your sales process is really, really, really helpful and important to improve and drive consistency. If you're looking at automation as a way to cut corners or to avoid certain processes, then I've got to be honest with you, you're probably looking at automation the wrong way. From my point of view, automation is all about how do you go about tightening the corners, but also enable automation to help you drive consistency. This isn't necessarily just about cutting and saving time. This is about how do you drive consistency? How do you use automation to be able to help the team achieve what they do with a greater degree of accuracy? You're going to have less errors. You're going to make sure that certain communications are triggered at certain points and the right teams are informed about what's happening, or even the end user who you've recently signed up is also informed and kept in the loop along the way. Point number 3, there is absolutely no point in having a really, really great pipeline that you've spent time refining and working on unless you train your sales team. So for us, this is all about the smarketing effect. How do we bring sales and marketing together? How do we align both of those teams to help those teams to be able to work in parallel with one another? Unfortunately, there is always that divide between sales and marketing. Sales don't necessarily see the importance of good data collection, and the marketing teams are always crying out for, why isn't this data accurate? Why is the second name in the last name field being used for something else? And it really makes it complex and really difficult to drive automation campaigns because you're not getting the opportunity to see something before it's sent out, especially in marketing material and collateral. And also, just as like a point B to the training your sales team, the focus has to be on follow-up. And really, by having a really good solid pipeline, you're going to be able to help your sales team really focus on that follow-up, really drive home because typically before you would only be looking at 2 or 3 times that you'd have to chase a customer. Statistically now, if you're looking to turn a prospect into a customer, realistically, you're looking at 8 or 9 times of having 8 or 9 different touch points before you're able to convert a customer. This is a B2B customer into a paying customer, or a prospect into a paying customer. So for me, it's really important, I would say, that you focus on that follow-up and use automation in order to make sure that you're driving the sales team to be doing their job, making sure the business development managers are following up with the prospects and that the prospects aren't feeling left abandoned. So the next points and the final points, plus I do have a bonus if we don't run out of time, are here to talk around reporting and identification. So for us and for me, visibility and being able to see the market place as it looks at the moment. For me, what does the pipeline look like? What does the future look like? What does cash flow look like for the business? Is there a high probability this is going to close? So all of these things, this visibility, all of these following points are here to drive visibility and help me as a business leader to be able to steer the business over the coming months and years, so that I have that level of visibility that I need to be able to make decisions. So point number 4 is to use custom fields to capture all the details that you need. This really does help with automation, yes, but it also allows me to be able to understand, is there a high probability of this closing? Is there going to be, is there any kind of issues that are likely to crop up? Or also, are we losing deals due to a consistent reason? Are we always losing deals to a competitor that are always going, someone's always going over to a competitor? Do I need to look at leading with price? Do I need to look at addressing my price? Are they offering something that we're not? Is there a service that they're offering that we're not? So that's a really important point for us. Moving on to number 5, just very conscious of the time ticking away in the top corner there. Adding predefined products to the pipeline. This makes it really easy to not only get a total sum going across for the deal and how much the deal is worth, but adding those products onto your pipeline really allows the sales team to be able to move quicker in allocating what someone is interested in, be that a product or the service. And then equally, you know you're consistently going to be working with pricing that is going to be working on a rate card effectively. And then the beauty of Groundhogg, again, is that the users have got the ability to then discount that down. You can override it. There's no issues with it being too rigid or locked in when you select those products. So I think really make use of those predefined products in your pipeline, because we found that's been a huge help. And we can also see consistently what is the most interesting service, what is the most popular product or service that we are offering out to users. And also, are there any seasonal trends to our prospects? Are there any seasonal trends for them when they're signing up? Number 6 is to stick to a naming convention so that you give your deals a consistent name. This makes things an awful lot easier to track. This makes things a lot easier when it comes to reporting, and equally, when you're dealing with a large volume, so we're an agency that deal with a huge volume of customers rather than just having a small volume of customers who are paying a lot. We work on volume, so we have a large volume of customers who pay a smaller amount. For us, that decreases our liability as a business. If we lose one customer, it's not so much of an impact. So we look at how do we make things easier to track, and one of those things is sticking to a naming convention, because we can find one customer among many very, very easily. We don't want to turn into that scenario where we're looking for a needle through a haystack. Number 7 sounds really obvious, but mark deals as one when they are won, because again, you will be able to see trends throughout the months as to when deals are more likely to close. We know that our busy periods are in February. We know that there's absolutely no point in trying to sell anything in December, because I don't think I've ever seen a deal marked as one, maybe 1 or 2 in December, but it's very, very, very low numbers. So this helps you to be able to plan your resource, but also plan your marketing campaigns. Where are you going to be putting that budget behind your marketing to be able to drive and stimulate that pipeline for sales teams to then follow up? Number 8, show closed deals in your pipeline for the continued use of the deal. So make sure that you keep the visibility there of closed deals. Refer back to that deal when you need to for the lifetime of that customer. Make sure that deal is attributed back to that customer, so you get that single customer viewpoint. You've got that golden record and that golden single view of that customer. You can see that customer's got 8, 9, 10 deals logged against them, and you'll be able to get one holistic view of that customer, and you'll be able to see multiple different ways that they are spending as well. Number 9 is to use different pipelines for different revenue streams. This is something that is very new to us, I will admit, but we have seen the benefit in doing that. We will run promotions or something that might be price driven, and you have the ability to use different pipelines for those revenue streams. But the important key thing is here to make sure you use automation to bring all of those back up into one central viewpoint. Otherwise, you're going to have data stemming off into different directions, and that's never good. It's great that you've managed to consolidate everything and bring all your data into one hub with Groundhogg, but you want to make sure that you don't lose that level of visibility that you're getting from pumping the data in. You need to make sure you do keep that data stitched together and you don't lose that. Number 10, now this is a gold mine for us, because so many people, they lose the opportunity and they immediately write it off. But if you log your lost opportunities, do not delete them, do not remove them, especially if it was because of price. Because if you choose to run a price-led promotion, you would easily and quickly be able to dig back through the archive. Obviously, you need to be sensitive in what data you are storing around individuals, but if you know you're losing someone to price and that typically they tend to renew the service annually or something along these lines, then you would be able to then reactivate and launch a promotion to market very, very, very quickly. And lastly, I have gone over just by a couple of minutes, but we did start late, so I'm going to stick to it and we're going to go through. The last one is to review and improve your pipeline process. This is a bonus one that I've just added in. Just because something is working now for your pipeline doesn't mean it is always going to work for you long term. It may be the best fit for your business now, but make sure you do review that. Not on a scheduled basis, but if you do hear sales teams or marketing teams saying, oh, I wish I could see this level of data, or I wish we had this phase so that we could, or this stage so that we were able to get this visibility, implement it. There's nothing wrong with implementing it. My only top tip there is just make sure your automations do still work as you expect them to if you implement a new stage. I hope you found this of use. As I mentioned before at the beginning of the call, and for those who missed the beginning part, my name is Kris Britton. I'm from an agency called Kaybe. My name is spelled slightly differently, as you will be able to see from the agenda. It is spelled with a K. Please look me up on LinkedIn if you've got any questions and you want to connect with me. I'm more than happy for you to connect with me and ping your questions across in message. Thank you very much for your time today and enjoy the rest of the sessions.